Harry got something to say, but what they said ain't got no fabric to it. Yay takes and thoughts with dice right through it. It's all about rumors and people feuding. If we're not uplifting, then what we doing? Yeah, they love the culture, yet they trying to wreck it. But are we ready to go hard to protect it? If we don't stand firm, then we're sure to fall. Are you ready to fight the stain and accept the call? Oh, it's all about dealerships and the mall. Now I'm ready to go for broke like Apostle Paul. I'm charged with the task to keep it real, moving straight forward, not about to yield. Tackling every subject, yeah, you know the drill. R.I.P. Guru, I bring that mass appeal. Our ancestors stood tall despite abuse. We got all the tools, so what's our excuse? It's time to show a face and take off the mask. It's something every yay, it's the podcast. 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 It's something every yay, it's the podcast.
What it do, what it do, what it do. Welcome to another episode of Some Every Yay, the podcast. I'm your host, Danye Jones. Fight through me. These kids, they just trying to make me sick for Christmas, but the devil is a lie. They will not make me sick. I'm feeling something in my throat. Mucinex is in effect. Trust and believe. But we have another special show tonight. I think all my shows are special because this is how I do it. Is either somebody I have on that I really respect, someone who I know is impactful, somebody I think y'all need to know, or just whatever. So I just don't be putting anybody on just say I got another episode. Everyone I have on there, trust me, I'm feeling them in some type of way. And tonight is no different. But as always, you know we got to go through our little housekeeping things. You know how we do. Know how we do. First, you can't be trolling watching the podcast and don't subscribe. Come on now. Can't be doing that. Go to YouTube, Danye F. Jones. The F is key. Because if you just put Danye Jones, you might see me on another podcast, which is not a bad thing after you subscribe to mine, though. You know what I'm saying? So also you can follow me on Instagram, Coach_Jones32. And also the Cola_32. Some people just only reach out to me on that one. It's all good. But obviously, you definitely can go to the title on YouTube. It's Some Aviator Podcast. Definitely you can do that. But check this out here. It's Christmas time, y'all. It's Christmas time. So, you know, money is funny. But there are some places where you can buy some things. Ladies, Love Jones Legacy. Love Jones Legacy. You can definitely check Love Jones Legacy out. She is now in basically a virtual mall, which is the Parsimonian Mall, parsimonian.com, Love Jones. Definitely check it out. A lot of good stuff at economical prices. We know, hey, things are going up, so definitely save some dollars and still be G'd up. So I'm not just saying that because it's the missus, for real. Now, her motto is, you could pay more, but why should you? So definitely check her out. Also, check out my man, Kevin Marshall, and More Than a Coach podcast. All coaches know you are definitely more than a coach. You just ain't coaching. If you just coaching and you a coach, then you waste your time because you ain't doing nothing for the kids. Because a coach, you're going to be paying bills. You're going to be buying food. You're going to be buying shoes. You're going to be involved in domestic disputes. You're going to be involved in everything that you didn't sign up for. But check my man out. Also, him and his wife got a wonderful show on Sunday night, the Mr. and Mrs. Marshall podcast. Hey, you don't even have to be married. If you're just in a relationship, they've got a little relationship tools that you can just use, which works for them. It's real funny, good, lightweight, uplifting. So definitely check them out. And a young brother I had on the other day, I'm so proud of him, boy. He got the Game Changers podcast, TJ Taiwan Hamilton. Follow him on Instagram, Game Changers Podcast. Put that Z with the changers. Definitely want to do that. Okay, housekeeping is over. Let me bring in my guest here. Hello, this beautiful young lady here. This is Mrs. Erinn Reed. How you doing, Erinn?
I'm well. How are you?
Okay, I see you. I see you got the little repping the little Saginaw
I
shirt on.
I had
Now
to.
see, I'm on. I'm
It was
on. I'm
getting
on
that
love it.
occasion, so
Yeah, yeah. I know she's a Saginaw High Trojan. I'm a rep
yes,
Saginaw, but the black and gold. When I wear black and gold, it's because of Grambling. But I'm gonna give you my love.
yes.
Shout out to the high. Okay, y'all wondering who is this young lady? We're gonna be going back and forth. So, first of all, initially, when I say an outstanding hooper, I ain't gonna say no basketball player because I talked about that on podcast. There are people that play basketball and they are hoopers. Hoopers is a mentality. It's not just playing. She's a hooper. Now look here. I'm gonna be jumping around here, but junior year average 28, senior year 34, four-time Saginaw Valley Player, League MVP. I'll explain that to y'all in a minute. I mean, Saginaw Dream Team, 3 years, four-time All-Stater. Miss Basketball, we're going to talk about that. Three-time Parade All-American, Kodak All-American Dream Team, Gatorade Circle Champions Player of the Year, Street Smith USA All-American Team. See, old heads remember that Street Smith. You got your name in Street Smith and or Blue Ribbon, you was doing something. Went on social media. Ranked number 5 in the class, was the number one guard in the country in her class. She did a whole lot. But you know what? We ain't just gonna talk about hoops tonight. But we're gonna start there. We're gonna start there. So, Erinn, I ran down a few of your accolades, a few because there are many more. So that means you must like basketball a little bit. So let's go from the genesis. How did you start playing basketball?
Uh, Initially, I had no interest. As you know, my dad, coach, played himself. He came from Detroit Southwestern, uh, went to what is now called Mott Howard, and he finished his career at Saginaw Valley, and he started coaching there. At the time I was born, he was starting to move over into high school coaching, which was at St. Mary's, which is now closed and doesn't exist. But I remember going to practices with my dad, and I had no interest. Actually, my first love was swimming. I learned how to
Okay.
swim at the age of 2. Um, I know you remember the friendship games.
Yeah, yeah.
For those that don't know, that was when Saginaw would compete with Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, in different sports. So before I started playing basketball for friendship, I competed swimming.
Oh wow, see, I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, swimming and softball because my mother played softball and she played in adult league. So I was always around. So those were kind of like my first loves. And so as much as I was around basketball practice, I was playing school on the stage at St. Mary's practices. Um, I was jumping rope. I was doing all of those things, getting in the way. And it was just overnight in the fourth grade. I just decided I wanted to play. And at that time in Saginaw, it was a pretty strong elementary school league for Saginaw Public Schools. At that time, Saginaw had like 24 elementary schools, and those Saturday morning games were
Yeah.
jumping. Um, and so third, fourth grade, I didn't play until fourth grade, but the third and fourth grade played, it was co-ed. So I played with boys. And then fifth, sixth grade was when it was a split off. And so that's how
So
I
you was at
started.
Holden? So you was at
I
Holden?
was at home. I was at home
Holden.
school.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Wow. Now, when you start playing, when did you and your dad start having conversations seriously about you playing ball?
Um, Gosh, yeah, you got me going back some years, but um, I remember going to camps. Carlton was my first camp. And
Okay.
I think it was right after fourth grade was when I started going to camp. And so I kind of started really kind of working. I wanted to be good. So that was when he was like, "Hey, you need to learn how to dribble with both hands and shoot with both hands." And I remember working on my left hand um, uh, in the backyard at 9, 10 years old. So I would say around that time was when, not so intense because I was young, but just, the idea of being serious was being cultivated through, going to camps.
Okay. The reason why I asked that because let me explain something to y'all, people. Um, her father um, was my high school coach, and Erin was a Erin was a little girl, but she would come to and I'm gonna jump in like well, if y'all don't know, and I said it, and I said his name. I think her father. If there's a Mount Rushmore of coaches in Saginaw, not only her dad is on it, but her dad, they got to break him off. He is the GOAT of Saginaw coaching. I said it. Anybody disagree with me? Let's have a conversation. And also, oh yeah, you can also see that interview. Saginaw's GOAT, the man on the Something Every Year podcast. Just go subscribe. You can see the great interview. Great interview. Just check him out. He's an awesome guy. This is his daughter. Now, we would have summer practice and Erin would come. So even as a young, like, dang, the girl was really like playing because it's hot. Wasn't no air in the gym, but she was in there playing, and it didn't seem like she was being forced to play. It just didn't. She wanted to play. She was playing with high school boys as a little girl. She was playing. So obviously the love was definitely there. But at some point, when did you start realizing, you know what, I might be kind of good at this? When did it hit you? When you had an aha moment?
I think by about the fifth grade, I got a gift to me with natural athletic ability. I think that, as far as speed, jumping, and so there are things that just seem to come naturally to me. Um, but then I through the camps and my dad's teaching, I got the fundamentals. So I kind
Yeah,
of had the best of both worlds. You had some players that, oh my gosh, they're athletic, and then you have, oh my God, they're skilled. I had both. And
yeah,
so when I was in the fifth grade, I remember we went undefeated and won one of the division championships. And it's funny because my aunt still has the clipping from the newspaper that I was able to see a month or two ago. And I think that was when it really kind of hit me that um, I had something going on at that time. And then in sixth grade, I was the only fifth grader on that fifth and sixth grade team, and so in 2 years we only lost one game, and that game went in like double, triple overtime or something crazy
okay,
like that. But then I played with the boys and for a tournament, and it was myself, Terrence Roberson, who you've had on the podcast. He was a fourth grader. I was a sixth grader, and that was the days of Civitan. And
yeah, the
they had
17,
a
yeah,
tournament. I was the only girl in the tournament and ended up winning the MVP of the tournament. And
wow,
I think we beat Longstreet.
all
They
right,
had a good team. That was a good elementary boys team back then. And so I remember the guys were saying that the only reason why I won was because I was a girl. That was what the Longstreet boys were saying. But all my guys, they were like, nah, she won it because she can play, you know. And so that was when, I kind of realized that um, I guess I am pretty good, you know.
yeah, okay. So let's jump through. Okay, so junior high, you went to Central.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so eighth grade year, you finish year. Obviously, you was dominating. You go in ninth grade. Second high starts at 10th grade. The decision to you go to Flint Northwest kind of similar to what T. Rowe did. Actually he actually followed you. He followed your script because he went to BB when he was planning to come back to the high, but he stayed at BB. You went to Flint Northwestern. Now that's different from going from BB. So how did that come about?
uh, uh, Tony Holiday was my coach, and he was my AAU coach. And so
Okay.
when I was 12, I played for a team called the Lady Lakers, the Flint Lady Lakers. And it was mostly Flint girls and myself. And we had a really good team. Some of those players ended up playing Division 1, but it was mainly Flint Northern, Flint Northwestern, Flint Central girls, and myself. And I think it might have been a Swartz Creek girl here and there, but so that was how that started. And so the conversation had begun between Coach Holiday and my dad, and I ended up at Flint Northwestern because, as you said, Saginaw Public Schools at that time did not start till the 10th grade. And so we were on the traditional junior high school curriculum. And so I was playing ninth grade as a seventh and eighth grader.
Right.
Starting, leading the team and scoring and whatnot. So in my dad's eyes, for me to play another year of ninth grade was
Waste of time.
a waste of time. And so I had already, by eighth grade, I had tried out for the national sports festival team and made it to the final round as an eighth grader. And that was amongst young ladies that were high school freshmen and sophomores in college. And so
Yeah. Now, where was that taking place at?
oh gosh, I remember one, it was in Purdue. It was in
Okay.
different places. They had the Northwest East,
Yeah.
South. And so you have another guest on your show, barking
It's all
behind me.
good.
So please
It's
excuse her. Yeah. So so I did. I think it was the Midwest, or I can't remember, but
Yeah.
I remember at one of those times we were at Purdue.
So at this time, you what, 14?
13, because my birthday is
Yeah,
in May. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's
13.
really crazy playing at that level at that age with that type of competition. Because for me, it tripped me out because I have history with Northwestern. Two of my cousins, well, three of my cousins went to Flint Northwestern. I know the area. I know their hood. That's Flint Northwestern is hood.
Mhm,
Much
mhm,
love for Flint Northwestern. You know what I'm saying? Even
mhm.
I
And
used to go to the games in Flint when the High used to play for Northwestern with Glenn Rice, Rising, Grayer, and all that. So I said, "Dang!" Then you go there at about 16, 17, you become all state as a freshman. This
yeah.
is my question. Obviously, the plan was to go back to the High. So the coach Holiday was he trying to like, hey, you did your thing. Why don't you go ahead and stay down here with Northwestern? How did he
Yeah,
try to convince your dad?
he wanted to. So um I don't know if the plan originally was for me to come back. I
Oh,
I
really?
I made the decision that I wanted to come back. All I
Okay.
know is that Coach Holiday didn't coach any girls after that. But I wanted to go back to Saginaw High because I mean, growing up in Saginaw,
Those are your friends, yeah.
for girls basketball, um, for the most part, with the exception of those that may have gone to Buena Vista, right? If you went to a city school and you grew up playing basketball, for the most part, you wanted to be a Lady Trojan. That was
Yeah.
something, and it's crazy because I tell people that to this day, having lived in Detroit for 22, 22 years, um, there was really nothing like it. We garnered the respect of everybody. It wasn't that the boys were treated one way and we were treated another way. Um, if you wore the black and gold and you played on the girls basketball team at that time, you were respected.
Hmm.
You know, um, we had people that come through like Nanette Davis, who
Yeah.
was really the first
Yeah.
Division 1 basketball player,
Shout out to
female
Big Job.
basketball player, and
Yeah.
that was in the 70s. So
Yeah.
when you look at Saginaw High, have been putting out Division 1 players since the 70s.
Right.
that was a tradition. And then you had Dolores McKinney, you had
Yep.
Annette Babers,
Hmm.
you had so many people, and uh even for people that came after me, Tanisha Johnson, who was a dear friend of mine, and we ended up playing against each other in college.
Wow.
She went to University of Missouri, and so we played each other twice a year, twice a year. So, there was an expectation to do well, whether we won a state championship or not. It was an expectation. So, for me, I just, you know, Flint Northwestern was cool, but again, I wanted to be with the people that I had been with
Been
from
with coming up.
elementary school,
Yeah.
central,
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure you had to face some type of haterade being at Northwestern, being a freshman, being a star.
And
I
being
mean,
from Savannah for
yeah,
playing.
yeah, because people know, yeah, because Flint is our sister city.
Rival.
It's like
Mhm.
we are definitely like 30 miles apart. And so did you come? Because I know during that time, people always protected hoopers, but I
Mhm.
know girls is a different animal. Females is listen. I'm gonna say this too. Lion is my favorite animal. Listen, the female lions are more vicious than the
Yes,
men.
sir.
Like
The
that
Them
is
Nittany. Mhm.
factual. Watch Discovery. And with me being in inner city school being dean, high school girls are vicious. I've dealt with cats who have murdered people. They've been in my house.
Mhm.
Not one of them heifers been in my house. I ain't talking because one, I want them to say I tried some, but two,
Come
and
on
I
now.
and I love all my babies, but they are listen, they vicious. So my point is, was girls hating on you at Northwestern?
I you know, um I don't want to say that. I know that there had been some talk. I'm not going to say that it was amongst my teammates. Okay. But there was some talk about, they had gotten back to me at that time that there was some
Okay.
concern, especially, with me coming from, I think that was the biggest thing. It
Absolutely.
wasn't so much because I think my game kind of spoke for itself. So it wasn't like people felt like I didn't belong in that position. Okay. But I think the main thing is that here I am from Saginaw, and we play at Saginaw. And then, I had to play against people who I had known
What
prior
was that
to.
like? What was that like when y'all played the high?
It was weird, but I'm not gonna say that it was a bad thing. I remember playing at that time. Saginaw High and Northwestern only played once a year, although traditionally they had played twice
Twice,
because
right? Yeah,
in the year, I think it was either the year before or 2 years before. It was an incident that happened after the Saginaw High Flint Northwestern game. So at
was it?
that point,
Okay. So was
yeah.
the incident in Saginaw? Or was the
Oh, in
incident in
Saginaw,
Flint?
and they were trying to get
Yeah,
them girls, get them Flint Northwestern girls up out of there. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah.
But
Hey,
so
yeah, hey.
so it wasn't like um it was just like a regular game, and it was like playing against people that I already known. It wasn't like there was any animosity because here I am from Saginaw playing against them or
Yeah,
anything like that. So it was different. And but then that next year, here I am playing with those same people.
right. So
And then playing against the people that
yeah, it still was love, but you was
yeah,
back at home with
I
the
was
people
back
that you
home.
was. Okay, so let me ask you this. I always wondered this. Like I said, I know, like you said, you've been playing with boys since you was real young. And I remember being at summer practice. I mean, I can't remember the kid that was on my team. And our games didn't go to a lot, which like 4 or 5. We kept them rolling. So
Hmm.
it was game. I was hot. It was game point, and you had made a move. You passed the boy, He could have recovered, fouled you or something, let you lay it, and we lost. I was mad as hell. I was like, dude. Well, I said, man, coach don't care. Man, you better block that girl. I said, dude. See, I was I said, I played varsity already. I want to say, Chip, you trying to make varsity. You trying to make varsity. You better block her shot because she going to kill you if you don't. So playing with boys, when you start playing against girls, did it seem easier? Or, and not to try to disrespect your opponents, but I'm just asking
Yeah.
that.
Well, it's a known fact that boys tend to be a little stronger and a little quicker. Um, and I would say that playing with boys back then was different from playing, because most of the time you didn't have to tell a boy to play hard on a girl. He was going to do that anyway because his pride would not allow him to even allow a girl to make a mistake and make a basket, right?
Right.
Um, but it does it forces you to develop some skills that perhaps you would not develop because um, some of those inefficiencies are not going to be exposed. Okay.
Right.
So when you're
Right.
playing against quicker, stronger people that can jump higher than you, you're going to develop some things that you normally are not going to develop. So it did. But the other challenge is that you don't want to play down. So that was a thing,
Right.
playing down to your level of competition. And so that was a challenge that, was always before me to not do.
Yeah. And I remember, I don't know if, I'm not, you probably know when you develop it. I mean, one year I came back and you had developed this floater. I don't know where it came from. One time, I ain't gonna lie, I tried to throw that mess to the wall and it just went on my fingertip. And I said, her ass to learn a floater.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because I would come back and you would improve. So that just tripped me out. So, like I say, y'all, this is, see, people are like, what's a floater? If you ain't a hooper, just stop. This is a hooper conversation going on here. Okay, people in the comment like, what? Stop. Okay, so well, I'm going to say this real quick for those people who watch it who maybe trying to develop. She stated that she was quick and she had some athleticism, but she said she had the best of both worlds, which means she was a drill. She did drills.
Mhm.
That's why I like when Steph Curry show his workout before games, because people think stuff just happened,
Mhm.
and he just pull. And trust me, I can tell you, this young lady did drills because she wanted to be better. And you said, "Well, her daddy, yeah." If Erinn did not want to play basketball at all, her daddy wouldn't have been tripping like that. But he saw she had something, and he gave her. He gave her, and this thing about it, he gave her what he gave us, but that's his baby. I'm sure he gave some other conversation that we weren't privy to because that's his baby. It's supposed to be. But she worked, even though she had some God given stuff. She still put in the time. I want to let that know. There's nothing wrong with working on your game. And remember, when
Well,
you ain't working your game,
I
never
would
have.
say, Jay, that anything that God gives you, you have to work on. Any
Yeah,
gift has to be developed. He sows that seed, but it's up to us to take it and cultivate it and work
yes,
and work with it. And I can attest to that in other areas of my life. Like just
absolutely.
being an educator was important to me. I wanted to be a teacher before I even thought about picking up a basketball. And so as a youngster, I watched my teachers. I picked up their nuances as educators.
Yeah,
So when I started teaching, I didn't have some of the challenge. Of course, I was not then where I am now,
right.
but there was some challenges that I bypassed that I saw that other first, second year teachers had because I had a level of comfort in the classroom, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And so, with anything that you have a gift, you have to. It's a skill involved that you have
Absolutely.
to exercise some discipline in developing that skill.
Let me tell you something. See, she talked about being a teacher. I'm a teacher. I always tell teacher I'm an educator. I say educator opposed to teacher
I'm an educator.
because
Yeah.
teachers kind of limit what you do. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into that, but what you're saying is awesome. We're gonna get into that too in terms of no one was born talentless.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a talent
Mm-hmm.
because that's how my God worked. He
Come on.
gives everybody a talent.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find out what, like she said, find out what that talent is and
Mm-hmm.
cultivate. A lot of times we want somebody else's talent.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what you do. That's not what God gave you. So I think that's awesome that you said that because you, even though the talent you had to cultivate it, and you carry that on to when you teach kids because every kids have different learning styles and different stuff. Hey, you're good at this. You know what I'm saying? So thought that was awesome. Listen, I don't know if she up in my notes. I mean, I did talk to her. She ain't been here, so I don't know what. I don't, and I keep myself hidden from the missus, so I don't know if y'all been texting because she all up in my mix. But we gonna get to that because you hit me right there with the educated piece and the what God does. So let's go here. You knock it out. You at the high. You got it going on at the high. I'm gonna say can't nobody guard you. Yeah, I said it, and I mean that's real. So you're doing your thing. You go ahead and you win Miss Basketball of the state of Michigan. Tell me about that.
Oh, that was it's crazy because most people talk about that more than they talk about the fact that I was an All-American.
Yeah,
Um, it's crazy, and it's a state award, but
yeah,
um, that was a good feeling. I remember getting a call that I had won Miss Basketball in the excitement, and it was during a boys' season at that time. Um, and so I remember my mom had taken me over to the school. My dad was in the middle of practice to make the announcement to him, but it's a good feeling. As of all of the awards that I was able to achieve, um, but I look at it differently. Yeah, I'm almost 50 years old, so
mhm,
I look at things much differently than I did at that
right.
time. I appreciate them, but those are just part of the experiences that all kind of work together
The
um,
journey, yeah,
in my development as a person. And I think that's the most important thing. Like how do these things work together in building um, the whole person and your character?
absolutely. And it's funny because I know you said like coaches at practice, and I don't know how y'all talked about it, but listen, I know Coach was proud. It's like, and I think, and he meant, I think Coach with his room, like, that's my baby right there.
Yeah,
My-
I know he was happy because first to have a player win Mr. Basketball with Mark.
Absolutely. Mark Macon, shout
Yeah,
out. Yep.
and then for his daughter to have that accomplishment, it
Absolutely.
was kind of like full circle of
Yes.
his contribution in my development, and so I would say that was an award for him too.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Mhm.
like you said, and when you know this about being an educator and being a coach, we won't get into that, but my former pastor would always say, when you pour into people, give into people, you will never die. Because
That's
even
right.
when your physical body leave, what you have poured people will live on. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? So I think, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that is pouring into people, giving what God has given us to give. He ain't giving us to be trying to hold
Because they're his
it.
gifts anyway.
Right. Well, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's awesome. Now there's something what I want to know. Okay, so you decide you choose University of Iowa. with legendary coach Vivian Stringer.
Mm-hmm.
Though Vivian Stringer, at this point, her name was as synonymous as Pat Summit.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't listen, Vivian Stringer was, in fact, maybe even more. I'm saying because she was a black woman at the time doing things. So
Mm-hmm.
you go there, but you end up leaving. What was the issue there at Iowa?
Um, I just at the time I felt like uh KU would have been a better fit as far as my style. Um
Okay. Now
uh
was KU recruiting you out of high
yeah, they
school?
did. KU was one of the my actual visits. I visited
Okay.
Penn State, Iowa, Kansas, Texas, and Virginia. I visited Virginia on the heels of Don
Okay.
senior.
Okay. Let me tell y'all something too. All the schools that she just said, regular students, you still have to have a decent GPA at AZ2. She
Hmm.
finished top 10 in her class, so she's an academia too. So even though those schools warned you, if you had no grades,
Correct.
they wouldn't have been coming at you like that. I just want to throw that out there. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, at the time, I was a combo guard.
Yeah.
I averaged, I led the team in assists too. Um, and so I was a point guard, but I was a scorer, and not that I expected to put up the same numbers I did in high school. Um, kind of like that strict point guard role
Yeah.
was not
Yeah.
me, right?
Right.
So, I was more of a playmaker in that regard. And at that time, looking back, the southern schools were a bit ahead of the northern schools with that concept, particularly
Yeah.
with smaller guards. You had
Yeah.
like Andy Landers at Georgia.
Hmm.
They had more of a tendency to allow their if they had a small guard that can go, they weren't trying to hold them
They
back.
would hold them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the
You know,
South, Texas, on the men's side, Tom Penders,
and
that coach, that
and women.
he, if you a guard, that's who you
Mhm.
want to go to because he gonna let you get your boogie on. You know what I'm saying?
For
So,
real.
okay,
Yeah. So
okay,
those are the things that you learn and you see in hindsight.
yeah,
Um, you know. But I liked Iowa. I loved KU though. But I liked Iowa, and I still have friends that I keep in contact with and talk lifelong friends. So
oh wow, that's what's up. Okay, so okay, going over to Kansas. So that at the time, was it the Big 12? Or was it the Big Eight then?
it
I'm
was
trying
Big
to
Eight
think.
at first, and then
That's
then
the
it was
okay.
Big 12.
Okay, okay. So his little
Oh
squad
Lord,
there. Yeah, but I no girl, what you straight? Look at Louis. Look at Louis.
I think I was
Oh.
about 19. Lord have mercy.
Okay, so was it a seamless transition in terms not just on the basketball, but in terms of the schooling?
Yeah. Now, as far as like the campus life, I liked KU so much better. I did
Okay,
not feel like I felt like in a sense I was in the middle of nowhere with Iowa, even though, it just seems like just Chicago was 3 hours away. All the real cities were a long, a long way
right,
away. At
right,
least at in Lawrence, you were equal distant between Topeka and Kansas City, Missouri. We're only 30 minutes
yeah.
away, you
Oh,
know.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And so you were a hop, skip, and a jump from a metropolitan area.
So
And
what you was doing in Kansas City then? What you going there to
oh, I
do?
was thinking it. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Okay, okay, okay. But see, I
Yeah,
didn't know. So Lawrence is only like 30 minutes from Kansas City.
that's it.
Oh wow,
That's
I didn't
it.
know that. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
And so in Lawrence, Lawrence was a different type of city. It's funny. Um, Kansas had um Black history there that you don't find at too many PWIs.
Really?
So Yeah, it's funny because one of my college friends.
Wait,
Uh,
hold up, stop, hold up. Let's do it again. Hold up. At the University of Kansas, repeat what you said. They have what?
there was a Black history that most people would not think exists. So,
Educate
um,
me.
well, first of all, if you want to talk about Greek life, so I will say, for those that don't know, I pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated at the University of Kansas Delta chapter, which means that it's the fourth oldest chapter in Alpha Kappa Alpha. It was chartered in 1915. Okay,
Okay.
single letter. You have four single letter chapters at KU. So after us, the Alphas were chartered in 1917, the Kappas in 1920, the Deltas in 1922. So just that alone tells you um, uh,
Absolutely.
how African American students were established and making their way through Kansas. And the church that I went to, which I learned a lot, just celebrated its 160th anniversary. And at that
Wow.
anniversary, at that time, it was like 120 something when I was in college. And I attended Ninth Street Missionary Baptist Church, and the building that it was in and still is in is on the National Registry of Historic Places.
Wow.
That church building was built by Black hands. So, and there was a community in Lawrence that was kind of separate from the college. Some of them went to KU, and some of them, they were just people that were working and living, And so, just that experience really taught me um, uh, just the Black life there. And so you really have to understand that Kansas was a free state. And so those
Hmm.
that were trying to escape slavery out of Missouri, Kansas was there. And there was actually a Black school there called Western. Is now defunct, but there was a
That's very interesting. That's very interesting because when you hear of people migrating from the South, it's always north.
mm-hmm,
It's always north. It's
mm-hmm,
never west. You know
mm-hmm,
what I'm saying? So no, that's no wow. That's very interesting.
which is
Now,
south to me. So Kansas is
yeah,
south to me.
right, right, and right. Look at Aaron, y'all. Hey, and the thing to me though, because I was like, I didn't really know. Let's go back. It was say she went up. Yeah, she was at Iowa. Look at her
Freshman.
trying to play some D. That wait a minute, that girl didn't cross you, did she?
No.
Okay. Nah, she ain't cross. She's like, nah, she ain't cross me. Okay. All right. So you go on. Okay, you play at Kansas, and your undergrad was in what, elementary education
Elementary education and psychology.
and psychology. Okay. Now you had a minor though. Was it learning disabilities
Learning
or
disabilities. At
okay?
KU, at that time, um, the education program was basically a 5-year program.
Okay.
So if you were elementary only, you not only had your declared minor, you had a multidisciplinary minor, which meant that you basically had to take classes out of every
Yep.
department. And
Yep. Yep.
then you
Yep.
had your declared minor.
Right. Oh wow. Okay. So it was interesting you said that early on you always wanted to be a teacher. Let's trip out. My mother and father teachers. I never thought about being a teacher. Trust and believe I did. So you okay, we're gonna jump to teaching for a minute. Okay. You get into teaching. Let me ask you this here. What's wrong? I'm gonna shift gears. What's wrong with education right now? You hear so many things. Is it the kids? Is it the parents? Is it the government? Is it the lack of resources? In your view, is it we need better teachers? In your view, if something you could change in education, what would it be?
Whew.
I know that's a
Yeah,
loaded question.
because I can
You
say
know what? And
I
I
can
ain't gonna let you
say
go
all
in.
of
I'm
it
gonna put because
with
yeah, it's a
varying
whole
degrees. I can say
yeah.
all of it. I can say we do need better teachers, but I can also say you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Um, I can say um, that it's in some cases parenting, because if we say kids, we can't, the kids don't happen, and it don't happen in isolation. Their behavior comes from,
Right.
but you can also talk about, just society. You have parents that are doing their best, but they're still struggling,
We're still struggling.
because you have what you're putting into your children, but then you got they're having downloads from the world too. um
Right. Absolutely.
and so I think that we have to rethink education and how we do education. I think that we're trying to do it, how they say that if you keep doing the same thing and
You get the
expect a
same.
different result, that's insanity. Well,
Right.
um, I can say that in education, we're trying to do the same thing and wondering why it's not working.
Right.
Um, I think that there need to be less of a disconnect between our schools and our families. You
Right.
know, and I kind of learned this when I first started teaching. I taught in a charter school in Kansas City called Delalam Elementary Charter School, and I had the vast majority of my students were either refugees from Somalia,
Hmm.
refugees from Sudan. They had come over they were persecuted Christians coming from Sudan. We had Vietnamese children. We had Hispanic children who some of their parents were here illegally,
Hmm.
but they were born here. So they're here, right?
Right.
Um, and I watched this school that was birthed out of a community center, and they met the needs of the entire family.
Okay.
So you had some of my parents, they were taking classes, they were learning English, they had support systems in place. They can get food. For during Christmas, they can go to the school and get toys. They had some of everything, and I think that's one thing. I think some schools do it in part, but in terms of you know, holistically partnering, not necessarily a school just telling parents this is what you need to be doing,
Yeah.
but really conferring with parents and treating parents as if they are contributors, because they are, and making the family partners. I think that if I'm crazy enough to work on a doctorate, that's what it will be on: parent engagement, family engagement.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're all stakeholders. See, that's what
Mm-hmm.
people don't understand. Everyone is a stakeholder. Even, let me tell people this here. Even if your children no longer matriculate in the district that you're in, if you're paying taxes in that area, you are a stakeholder.
Our stakeholder.
You have a voice,
Mm-hmm.
and by being in education, me personally, I think, well, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. Hey, I might not be here tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this country is really taking education seriously. I
No.
think they still want to teach what they want to teach because they're teaching us, and I'm saying us, to be employees and teaching us to be buyers
Mm-hmm.
and teaching us to fit the plan that they have. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad because like here in Illinois, they had this crap talking about the lottery and the toll system is going to fund education. If that was the case, schools would not be struggling for resources. And then they
Exactly.
use the property tax. Hell, if you live in Lincolnshire, which is Florida, that's where Jalen Brunson's actually from. They're opposed to Ford Heights. If you get money based on the property tax, well, out Ford Heights, you can probably get a house for $7,000. Who knows? So
Thank you.
obviously the disparity is going to be there. So
Yeah.
it really made me. That's why to be a teacher you have to go beyond if that's really your project because kids aren't going to get necessarily what they need from the system, so to speak.
Hmm.
So I think that's awesome what you're doing. And me talking, you did somebody. You are this an entrepreneur. You know I love entrepreneurs, y'all.
Hmm.
She started tailor-made learning. I ain't gonna talk about it. I'm gonna let her break down tailor-made learning.
Well, tailor-made learning is a virtual and mobile academic coaching um, service. So
It's
some people
virtual.
call it
I didn't
tutoring.
know that. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So
Has it
we
always been
we
virtual?
serve. It's been virtual. Oh gosh, nine out. Well, no, we've been in existence since 2013. So 11 years. 10 out of the
Oh, great.
11
Awesome.
years we've been in existence. So we serve students all over the country, and so for clarity, we provide tutoring, but we don't call it tutoring anymore. We call it academic coaching because academic coaching encompasses more than I'm just helping you through this subject.
Right.
We fill gaps. We provide enrichment for those that need enrichment. In fact, our motto is we catch up, keep up, get ahead. So if you need to catch up, we got you. If you need to just keep up, we got you. But if you need a challenge and need to get ahead, we got you. We also provide homeschooling services. We just had
Mm.
one of our homeschoolers graduated from Hampton back in the spring. So
Oh,
we were
that's what's up.
extremely proud of that. Um, and we provide consultation services for homeschool families. And so, we try to separate the whole tutoring thing because we found that just educating families on our services, and a lot of people think tutoring is just basically my child is having trouble in this subject, needs help with homework. But the truth is that we have to uncover why they're having
Right.
issues. Many
Right.
times students are having issues because there are some foundational skills that are absent, and
Yes.
so a plan has to be put in place there. And so you can get someone that knows the subject, but knowing the subject and knowing how to teach are two different things. And
Absolutely.
you need the content, but you need the instructional practice to go along with it, and knowing what practice is to use for that student at that time. And so that's our focus. And so we employ teachers um, and those that are about to be teachers who've gone through the training and is at
Hmm.
the end of their coursework and are working on their pre-student and student teaching. Um, and so I think that's important because it's bigger than I'm just helping you get your homework done.
Right.
Now they
Absolutely.
still don't know it. You just help them get it done, but they still don't know the skill because there are other things that need to be addressed. And how do you do that? Is the skill that you need to have as an educator. So yes, tailor made learning was founded in 2013. Um, and we've had multiple partnerships. We're still working on more partnerships, and we've had to kind of rebuild since the pandemic. The pandemic kind of did a number because we had
Mm.
a number of in-person students that we couldn't see. And then I had my own personal health challenges at the time that I had to deal with. So I had to take a back seat. It was always an
Hmm.
operation, but it had to take a back seat for a while. So
Right. Well, yeah, that's interesting. We're gonna talk to because I see here you have branched off. You got people in Florida, Georgia, and we're right next door. And I know definitely Chicago could definitely use similar services because yes, we like every other state, we're struggling educationally. Now, do you
mhm.
provide? You do any SEL, any social emotional learning things within your program?
Yes, we do. Yeah. And then
Okay.
my tutors receive training on that as well, because that's, the thing is, we deal with the whole child. I
Right.
think that's so important. Um, even when I've interviewed for jobs within education, my main thing, I don't teach curriculum. I teach children. Now,
Yep.
I don't teach children anymore. I work with teachers as an instructional coach now, but a lot of those same skills were used because teachers have different skill sets. They have different ways
Right.
of learning themselves or different ways of communicating, and so it's stretching me a little bit further. But as far as kids, you have to understand that you're teaching the child and you're
Yep.
you're giving them
Yep.
content. That means I have to know how to develop relationship with them. I have
Absolutely.
I have to be cognizant of their interests. I have to be cognizant of how they process information, what their
Hmm.
learning styles are, what and different learning traits that they have as far
Yeah.
as how do they remember things? Do they remember things by hearing, or do they remember things by sight? How do they process information?
Absolutely.
So much that goes into it. But I think the biggest thing, the challenge that we're facing as educators, is that um, education is not valued
Right.
the way that it once was. Like educators were put on the same pedestal as doctors, lawyers, judges,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
um, but
Absolutely.
not as much anymore. And there's a saying that I hate when they say that those that can do and those that can't teach. And I said, well, how do you think the ones that do know?
Right.
I said, that's stupid.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can't. No one can think of any profession that did not have to come through a teacher. They had
Hmm.
to come through, whether if they were homeschooled, whether they were in a classroom, and they can talk about
Whatever.
education the schools all they want. Everybody, most of the people that we hold in high regard sat in somebody's classroom, was
Hmm.
inspired by someone that
Somebody. Yep.
stood in front of that chalkboard, the
Absolutely.
whiteboard, the smart board, the
Whatever.
overhead projector, you know and was inspired by them. um as educators, we're social workers, we're mediators,
Yep. Absolutely.
we're prayer warriors,
Yep. Absolutely.
um, we're counselors. We're all of those things. Sometimes we bring food, like you said. We have washed clothes,
Yeah.
all of those different things. We're part of we're extensions in some cases of family. I've had kids that years ago would say, "Mama, I mean Miss Reed."
Yeah. 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 That's real. Listen.
Yeah.
That is so real. And I look back. I think back now. How about what my mother used to do? Our clothes, she would take food, and I had to understand it then. But like I said, if you really want, when I was a dean at this high school, hood school. Shout out to Dunbar, but I was over security, and I would tell them when the kids coming through the metal detectors, the security they used to be so. "Rah, rah, rah." I said, look, this kid made it to school. You have no idea what this kid had to go through to come to school, and you coming
Mhm,
in giving them that. That's going to set that person off. You know what I'm saying? So I
mhm,
think what you're saying in terms of you have to, because we learn as we go. Because I had to learn this. This is year in education, year 28 for me. How differentiated instruction.
mhm,
Because for me, because initially, my first 8 years, I said, well, this is how I learned. Why can't you learn like that? I
mhm,
said no because they're not you. They learn
mhm,
in a different aspect. So I think
mhm.
those are the type of things, the skills, but you got to have the heart. You have the heart because I don't care who you are. If those kids truly believe you don't care, it's over.
It's a wrap.
It's
Mhm,
over because once you care, you can say anything to them.
Sure
You
can.
can like you their parent. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's some kids I said it. Some kids I have cussed. Some kids, I've grabbed. But that's what it is because ultimately it's coming from the heart.
I'm
Now,
gonna do like Dave Chappelle. Fifth, fifth.
now
I
look
taught
here.
seventh grade one year, and I said, y'all can have that.
Listen.
I was trying to stay safe. I can't. Woo.
Listen.
Lord have mercy. I hope none of them watching.
I know. Hey, it's all good because they're
Yeah,
gonna have kids and they're
they knew I
gonna.
loved them though, but Lord have
Oh
mercy.
yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Let me ask you this. When I talked to them, they tripped me out with this because it was kind of my feeling, but I didn't want to deep dive into it. So I want to hear you. Okay. Now, at some point, somewhere around the line, the Miss All American decided to start coaching. Okay. I got my stuff on. Come on, now. Don't be looking. I got some stuff with me now. Now you
And
start coaching.
I
Look
was
at Aaron.
coaching against River Rouge, and I'm actually an employee of River Rouge now.
Oh wow, look at you
That's
got
so
your
crazy.
heel. Oh, you got your heel, got your pump joints on. I'm like, so let me ask you this. All right, how did you feel about coaching?
Um, well, I really didn't want to at first. I said I was not going to be involved, but I started coaching when I lived in Kansas City. There was a young man that I worked with, and he coached Tony, and he coached some teams at Delalam. And
Okay,
so he would catch me taking my kids to gym, and he would call me into his office, and he would have like an instructional video with Rick Pitino. And he would always bait me like, "What, you don't know nothing about that?" And I would be like, So after a while, I was like, "Come on." So we would talk, and then so he would say, "Okay, well, I need you to coach," and I would be like, "I'm not interested in coaching." And he stayed on me and stayed on me. And so I ended up coaching. Was it a PAL team? I think. And I had a group of girls that had never played ball before.
oh wow,
And we ended
high
up going.
school.
No, it was like a 14 and under, but
Oh, okay,
I had like a 9-year-old. Most of them were between 9 and 12 years old. I
okay,
had a very young team, never played. And so I those girls, we would practice some Saturdays, and they didn't want to go home. I was like, I have to go grocery shopping. We'll help you shop, you know. And I think about
oh,
those girls often because those
yeah,
girls, we end up going to the semifinals and lost in double overtime to a
wow,
team that
that's
had
what's
beat the
up.
crap out of us.
Yeah,
And just with me teaching them just basic skills and them getting
yeah,
excited about they was like, "Coach, I couldn't dribble with one ball. Now look, I'm dribbling with two." And
yeah,
so even thinking about that now kind of makes me get me in my feelings because
yeah, yeah,
that is what coaching for me is about.
yeah.
Um, those girls couldn't play a lick, but they came to practice. And I remember one, it was some sisters. One was 9, one was 11, and their father wouldn't let them come to practice because they had responsibilities at home they didn't take care of.
Right, right.
And so they called me. They was like, "Our daddy." So I went over to their house. They lived in the project. So I went over to their house, and he said, "No, coach. They know that on Saturday they get their clothes ready for the week, and they didn't do it." And so all I could do was shrug my shoulders. I said,
Yeah,
"Well,
yeah.
you got to do what you if practice is important to you,
You
make
gonna take
sure."
care of your business, right?
Never had
Absolutely.
that problem again. But those girls came to practice and they were just excited about playing. And I remember I would pile all those girls. I had a Grand Prix at the time, and look, it was a 2-door. And I would pile all those girls. I don't know how I got those girls in that car, but we
Yeah,
would roll those games, and they were the first group that said, "Okay, I'll coach now." And even me having to tell them that I was leaving Kansas City and coming back to Michigan, and just the tears, you know,
Yeah.
that I had to look at them, you know, and so that's kind of what got me back into coaching, and came back here. I coached at a middle school and then started coaching AAU. And I had 14 and under, but this was a different 14 and under that I had. I had
Yeah.
young ladies that played in Michigan, Missouri, UTEP.
Right. Right. Yes.
They
Yeah.
were a great group of girls. But I also had to learn um, how to walk away when adults don't know how to do right, you know,
Yeah.
because I think sometimes we have to be careful not to, I'm going to just say, use kids for our
Mhm.
own
Absolutely.
self-aggrandizement. Um,
Absolutely.
and so it was a situation where um, I was coaching the girls. The previous coach uh, uh, had to make a choice between those girls and coaching her daughter, which it was going to be her daughter, of course,
Hmm.
but she still wanted her hands on, and
Hmm.
we were experiencing some success, and so she wanted to try to take the team back, and I knew she had been doing some talking with parents, a couple of the parents that she felt she could manipulate, and I let her have it, and she was
Yeah.
shocked, and she said, no, 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 coach, you can still go. I said, no, you want the team, you got it,
Yeah.
because
Have at it.
she still needed me to coach.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, and that's hold up. Let me take these off so I can see what I'm saying. Listen, people always ask for years why didn't AAU? And listen, this is not an indictment of AAU. For Danye Jones,
Hmm.
Cora, and Fred's son, AAU was not for me.
Mm-mm.
And I realized this
Oh.
early on because
Mm,
I saw early on where it was going. And stuff that's going on now, I saw this 20 years ago.
mhm,
Because for me, and I'm not saying all, a lot of AAU programs I saw, they didn't care about the kids.
mm-mm,
And that's like I said, I had on my board, children are my business.
mhm,
Babies are my business, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't do something for myself because of a kid. So I would never coach AAU. I told them that, and I never have. And like
mhm,
the high school coach now is an afterthought. If you're a high school coach, you better be affiliated if you're not an AU coach yourself, because
mhm.
you won't get kids, and
Yeah,
it's really
that's the
sad.
game. That's the game. I watched it. I didn't know. Um, I was offered at the same middle school. I was one of the young men. The boys was I had a couple boys who was our manager. They both played on the boys team, and one of them, his father, who is a good friend of mine, coached the boys, and he asked me. He was like, "Coach, we would love for you to help with the boys." That's what I should have done, is help Coach Carey with the boys. But I ended up coaching AAU, and every weekend we were somewhere. I got so tired of that, and so
So
when you're
many
in
games.
so many games, and especially if you're coaching girls that are pretty good and are looking to play at the next level, the expectations, they need to be seen. And that was the thing that I didn't understand, is that they don't need to be seen every weekend. And yeah, they're seeing the fact that your daughter not getting up and down the floor. They're seeing
Yeah,
consistent rebound.
if you got some
That
deficiencies, they really gonna
they,
see
they gonna see that too.
it.
So
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
this was still a time. This was the early 2000s where girls basketball in Michigan was still good. Um, and there was a period of a few years where I didn't coach, and then they made that switch either in '08 or '09 to run concurrently with the boys. And I saw the difference in skill level, boys and girls actually. It's just not the same as it was. If you look at the caliber of players that came through Michigan, Flint, Saginaw, and Detroit, and
But see,
surrounding areas
but
in
see, Aaron, they're like
the
you said
90s,
yourself. They have all those games. They're not practicing.
they're not practicing.
See, that was my thing. And I'd say this too. When you see all these NBA players injured, they're in that AAU bubble playing 9 games in a 2 day, 3 day weekend.
Body's not
It
resting.
yeah, it catches up.
Hmm.
And well, let me ask you this here because I'm gonna ask you about the state in your eyes of women's basketball. I like and because I've had some players. Some when I never coached girls, but I had some girls at my school. In fact, one young lady still trying to get on the podcast. Shout out to my baby Nadia Bill. We didn't have an eighth grade girls team, but I know she had Boogie. So I put her in the eighth grade All Star game. She had no team, and she won MVP. She went
Mm.
on to play at Boston University. She played at Northwestern. I mean, she can hoop. So when I see girls who want to hoop, I have two little cousins from LA. One now is at University of California, Santa Barbara. Another young cousin, she's doing really well. So they would have the Nike Tournament of Champions AU thing here in Chicago. It was over 700 teams across the country with girls. I would see all these girls just hooping, and they wanted to hoop. That did something for my spirit because I
Mm.
see dudes now who take this for granted. So for me, the dude come in one day. He was able to give me a pass. I said, man, I don't care, dude. I'm paying. One is my fan playing, but I love to
Mm.
see all these different girls hooping. So, in your eyes, and how do you look at what is the state of women's basketball right now?
I think that women's basketball has gained popularity. I think that it is received the marketing that's been overdue. Um, it's funny because people have asked me before, well, how do I feel? I said women's basketball has always been good. We've always been hooping. Women didn't just start
Yeah,
hooping. Uh,
yeah,
and those
yeah.
that guys that were real hoopers that were around us when we were coming up know that.
New, yeah,
Um,
right.
it's you have the marketing, and that was the things. Even when I was in college, I used to say it was marketing. They market men's basketball, and
Yeah,
so if you know anything about media, media tells you what's important. If you're not,
which is
we're so
which is
social
crazy.
engineered
Yeah, right.
that.
But which is really crazy though to me to what you just said because Coach Moki, I
Mhm.
remember her
In college.
at Louisiana Tech with that real long braid.
Yep.
And what Pat Summitt was doing down there, girl was stamped doing a thing. So it's not like it's not as big as because there was no UConn. UConn wasn't even a
UConn was
conversation.
just UConn was
Yeah,
just on the scene when I was in
yeah.
college because we
See,
played
people think they have no,
UConn.
no.
Yeah.
It was USC, Tennessee, Tech, even Stanford. It was
Yeah.
so many teams.
Yeah.
So
Old
uh,
Dominion. I'm going way back.
listen,
Old
oh
Dominion.
listen, listen. You talking some stuff now. You talking some stuff now. Old Dominion. Listen, we had when I was at Winston State, the CIW tournament was at Old Dominion. What is because my boy is friends with an old girl, probably the best who came out of Old Dominion. What is her name? What is it? Oh no, I can't know her name. This white lady. She's a Hall of Famer. She does some NBA games.
Mhm.
So when I look at it now, what this is what I don't want to happen. They have the attention now. I don't want them. I know what the girls do, but I don't want the league or all to sexualize the game to get
Yeah.
people to watch
Yeah.
because me last year, I personally, I know I watched more women NCAA games than I did men. I know it last year. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, wait, okay, she screened. Oh, she actually hedged on that screen. She hedged and got back to. I'm looking at all this. I said, they
Hmm.
out here hooping. So, and I think I know a lot of girls want to, promote their self, their brand or whatever, but I don't want that game because you got this attention now. It can
Hmm.
turn to something else if we're not
It sure
careful.
can. Because remember, there was a league that didn't last very long, right before the WNBA, and they had women playing in leotards.
Religion, yeah,
You
yep,
remember that?
yes,
And yeah,
yep,
and it's ridiculous. And so it's almost to say that no one will be interested in watching women's basketball unless um, we have all our stuff hanging out, or we're being objectified. And so um, my thing, even then in college, I said, if we're not going to sell ourselves on how much we can be like the men, because we're
right.
not. It's a
We're
different
not.
game.
It's a different
We're gonna
game.
have to. Women's basketball has to be sold on women's basketball and all of the
Right,
nuances that come with that. It's not
right,
typically an air game.
right.
It's a different kind of cadence that goes in rhythm with women's basketball, because our bodies are different. We move differently. And so in the people that we capture are going to be people, one, that appreciate that, and or just love basketball period and
Yeah.
don't care. One of a young man, he's no longer with us, Victor Tate. He was one of my assistants when I was coaching, and in that picture that you showed, he was sitting on the bench, and he passed
Okay.
away in 2013. But a great friend, like a little brother. But you can talk to him, and he can not only name players and teams for men, he can name players and teams for women.
Yeah.
He loved women's and had a deep appreciation for women's basketball. But he just loved basketball, period. And didn't care. And so I that's what we need to get to. But it's so many other things that we got to get past between men and
Yeah.
women. We can even get
Yeah.
that. That's a
Oh
whole
yeah.
different
And it's
type
gonna.
of. So when you start
Yeah.
addressing, you're gonna start addressing some other things too.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I was going to those games, they would come to Chicago and they would come in. I said, dude, you don't need no room. Come stay at the crib. Let your baby stay in the hotel with the team. So we go down and kick it. And his daughter played with one of Cynthia Cooper's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Cynthia Cooper. Cynthia Cooper. Oh, she crazy as hell. She is so damn funny. I swear she's hilarious. But when I think, cause like people like even don't know her, don't know Swoops, don't know Lisa Leslie, don't know Sue. Even some people don't even know Sue Bird. There's so many people. Lynette Woodard. I mean, it's so many Lynette Woodard. Rather, it's so many people who've been trying to hold this thing down forever. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And when you think about like Title IX and how they have like go to school, that's the women's gym, and it's smaller, and it's even high school. It was directly set. It was, I mean, the male shoulders thing was so, and I didn't realize the level of it really until I got into education to see the difference, how they really would do the women in terms of
Hmm.
thing, and women want to do that too. And I'm gonna tell people, I'm gonna tell coaches, girls are better listeners.
Hmm.
That's not my opinion. I said it. I'm a teacher. They're just naturally better
Yeah,
listeners.
we're taught that. Yeah.
I mean, that's just fact. I'd be like, you just heard what I just said. But let me stop. But dudes don't want to really listen. So I really want the game to grow because I'm scared of what's happening. And I said this 5 years ago. I'm scared of what's happening in the NBA.
Yeah.
They are messing up the
But
next generation for getting money. They,
and
I mean,
It's a setup. You're not gonna find it after a while. It's gonna be a bunch of names that we can't pronounce, and it's and that's not a knock to anyone that comes from somewhere else. It's just that it's going to come a time if we're not careful that most of the people that are playing are going to be from places other than here. The people that we're going to be watching are more and more going to be people we're paying the money, but it's not. It's kind of like outsourcing, just like the big three. You know, buy
Mm-hmm.
American, buy American, buy American. But most American cars ain't even made here anymore.
Now,
No.
Erinn, I got attacked. This might have been my second episode I did during the final. I was talking about what you're saying right now because the um, the American white ball player for years wasn't doing it. This kids go overseas. These guys, they're strong, they're fundamentally sound, and Caucasians are still paying for these tickets, and they still want
Mhm.
to see themselves. But on a natural tip, a lot of them know how to play.
Mhm.
So the message too, and not taking enough because there's still some the best players from the NBA. This historically, Jordan was fundamentally sound. He was athletic. Kobe
Mhm.
Bryant is a basketball almanac. His IQ's off the chart. Kobe Bryant. That's not everybody though, because everybody don't think the game. And it's just
I
sad.
know
That's
you
why.
didn't leave. I know you didn't leave out.
Wait,
You
stop,
missing one.
stop,
Come on,
stop,
Yay! Out of all
stop,
people, come on.
stop. Do you see
Okay.
that? See,
Yes,
the way
that's what I'm
you better
saying.
stop. Wait a minute, hold up, stop. Wait, let me say she want to
Well,
go
you
there.
know,
Let's
Magic was
no
my
stop.
dude too. Come on
No,
now.
stop. Let me tell you something. Since you want to say that, I had a shirt that my dryer stopped. I was gonna wear today with magic picture on that says where magic happens. When the NBA was doing that
Oh,
thing with Sun, and because I remember 32. I know you did. When I went to LA in 1987, your daddy said, "Bring me back a shirt." I brought him a Magic shirt. That was he used that thing as the practice jersey. Listen, everybody rock with me know about Magic. I'm just talking about yeah. So I ain't gonna leave out Magic. Stop. Not we gonna fight. We gonna box for that because Magic is my
that's
guy
what I'm about to
still.
say. Now I'm sitting here waiting. Yay. Okay, he naming Jordan. He named Kobe.
I'm,
Yep. Oh wow. So he wasn't gonna mention that.
just
Oh,
oh no. Let me tell you something. That picture back there, I didn't order. I didn't buy that. Listen, I was buying furniture in Ruston, Louisiana. I got a three-piece furniture for $190. I got a couch, a love seat, and a chair. Now you sit on one side, wow, the spring we hurt up. But this was in that dude office.
mm,
I said, dude, what's up with that? I said, I bought the picture just playing. I said, for real? I said, I give you $50 for it.
mm.
He gave it to me. It's a light to where he's holding like a little, it's like a little genie thing. Said now for my next trick. So everybody know. If you forgot, Magic is my guy forever.
I did
Best
not
point
forget.
guard.
That's why I said
Okay, yeah.
best
So no,
point
I ain't gonna.
guard ever.
Yeah,
Five can
yes,
play all five positions on.
yes, absolutely. So we ain't gonna. Yeah, okay. So, but my bad for not throwing them out there. Now, um, they was going back and forth with the whole. Just what are your takes on Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese? Just go wherever you want to go, and I'm just gonna bounce off of you.
I felt like too much energy was put into it. Um, I mean, talking crap is part of the game. I think that was overkill. I
Mm-hmm.
think partially it's because she was a black girl.
Yeah,
Um, and there's nothing to take away from Caitlyn, but uh, the narrative was already set for them to win.
absolutely. Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think that a lot of people played into it because when they say, "Well, more people are watching," well, that's because it's marketed. That's the part. Like if you wouldn't see her either if they didn't choose to show her.
Yeah, if they'd have said,
You
yeah,
wouldn't see
this
her
white
either.
girl, white girl doing her thing, we ain't gonna show it though. We wouldn't know
Right.
about it. particularly because she wasn't at UConn. She wasn't at. She was at Iowa.
She was at
No,
Iowa.
no knock at Iowa. I mean, but my point is, it wasn't what they consider a blue blood program in terms of women's basketball.
And
So that's what they decided to market.
not when Vivian had Iowa.
Absolutely right.
Of a Final Four appearance, but
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it was all set up. It was obvious that it was a setup to, to market her, and that's not to say, like I said, there were women when I was playing that can shoot dang near half court. Okay, so you have a different things at play. You have the ability that play, which Caitlin Clark has.
Yeah.
But she also had the green light, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which that plays a lot, because you have women that have laced those shoes up that had the same range that she had, can shoot the blood out the ball, but their coaches were not going to allow them to have that green light, and she did. So, I think that I'm glad, though, that women's basketball is being seen. But I just want the record to be set the record straight in that women's basketball has always been great.
And that's my thing. I'm thankful for Caitlin Clark, because before Caitlin Clark, people didn't know who Asia Wilson is.
Come on.
I said, do you know she's been banging these fools for years? Yeah. I mean, and the people who watch and people who play know, y'all talking about her. This chick here been doing it for years. And it's funny about Angel Reese, because with her divaness, she plays a Dennis Rodman style of play.
Yeah.
See, that's people want you. I said, listen, she gets grimy, which her game is grimy.
But that's how women's basketball has always been. Like women's basketball, was very physical.
Right.
Very physical. And even more so physical than men, because men's game tends to be more in the air, when our game is
below the rim.
Yeah. And so it's a very physical game. But again, it you kind of have to see it through eyes that have not been tainted with male chauvinistic ideas, right? And even when I was coaching, sometimes we would be in the gym with the boys, and I would cringe when I would hear the boys coach say things like, "You acting like a little girl." Like, what does that mean? And I would say, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because in all of my years, from Houghton to Central to Saginaw, Flint Northwestern to Saginaw High to Iowa to KU, you did not see girls and women crying, whining. Shout out to my high school coach, Jim Milam. He didn't feel like you were in shape till somebody threw up.
Yeah, right.
He never had to
Shout out to Coach Milam. Yeah.
About who was going to come to practice and who wasn't going to be there. We were on the floor stretching before he had his clothes changed for the day. Girls basketball and women's basketball has always been on point. So I always felt like, and I said something one day, and they said, "Oh, well, it's just a saying." I said, "But that's demeaning. Like, you're associating a negative trait with
weakness. You promote weakness. Yeah.
Oh, you acting like a little B, or you acting like a little," and I hated that. I cringed every time I heard it. Like, but why do we do that? Why isn't it that he's just not, because you have soft girls and you got soft boys that play. You got some that's just not
I
gonna get
know
at it. That's just how it
because
is.
I
And
played with some and
yeah,
coach some.
yeah,
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 absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. This is awesome. Now, hope you got nothing to do. I got most stuff. Hope you ain't got nothing to do. I see
I ain't got
your
nothing
dog.
to
Good. We
do.
rolling.
She on
And
her she's on her couch. She done gave up and
this
she's on her
man
couch
this
now.
man surpassed your daddies. I got most stuff. Check this out. Now, we talked about you being an educator, a teacher, entrepreneur, great player, obviously. I'm gonna go here. Evangelist Aaron Reed. Now, this is my whole thing here. Ordained and licensed. What's up? Tell me how that come about.
Whew. Um, I just remember being nudged while I was in college, and it wasn't anything that I sought after. Um, it's just something that I know that I was supposed to do. And I remember uh, the church I went to. There were like three young men that had just accepted their call into ministry, and one of which played football at KU and is now the pastor of that very church.
Oh wow.
And I would listen to the pastor tell them, well, you need to get you a Vines dictionary, you need to get you a concordance, get you a Hebrew, Greek key study Bible. And I remember getting all those things. I remember going to the Bible bookstore and literally giving my last pennies for it. And I still have that Bible, and I won't do anything with it because that it's kind of like a reminder, like, you
Absolutely.
know, um, uh, just a desire to teach. And I don't even need a pulpit, you know. My life should preach, right?
Yeah. Right.
Not perfect, but my life should preach at the end of the day. And so just a desire for people to really um know God in a real way, in a real way that extends beyond a church experience.
Hmm.
I think that sometimes um our relationship really kind of it exists in this bubble of just what happens on Sunday, or what happens when a special man or woman of God comes. And but it really boils down to knowing Christ and him crucified, and what that looks like in our lives, right?
Hmm.
And so that has been mainly my desire. Along the way, I've learned things I didn't want. I remember early on, everybody wanted, when the word network was popular,
Hmm.
and everybody wanted to mimic and be like different people. Not everybody,
Yeah.
but quite a
But
few.
no, absolutely.
You know, and those were their aspirations. They were never mine. You know, um, singing on praise teams and things like that. People would ask me, "Well, why haven't you cut an album?" That's not the path that I believe the Lord has me on. Um, I'm in a space where I just want to do His will, whatever that is, right?
Mhm.
And so if that means it's in a pulpit, fine. If that means that it's in a conversation face to face, fine. But that's just basically just that nudge that, okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and I can't really explain it. Um, and I wrestled with it for
That's
several
what
years.
that's what we're asking you. Because see, I want to be clear, and this is really for those people who not necessarily aren't non-believers, but people who still trying to understand. You said you got a nudge. Break the nudge down because that's very
Um,
important. That's very important.
I guess it happens differently for different people, and I think
Yes,
that
absolutely. Yep.
that for some people, um, it may be you may hear an audible voice. It could be in a dream.
Hmm.
For me, it was like an open vision of seeing me doing this.
Yep.
Um, and it was at a time in my life where I was experiencing a lot of challenges, but um, I was still I was hungry for the word though, and it wasn't. I was content singing in the choir. I was content teaching Sunday school. I was content doing those things.
Yeah.
Um, but I just it was just like I would see it and I was like, wow, what is that about? And
Yeah.
I wrestled
Yeah.
for like 3 years. And when I moved to Kansas City, before I started teaching, I had this job, and it was a guy. He was a minister, and we became, pretty good friends. And he was the first person I told. And I said, well, I think. And he said, well, that's you don't have no choice then, right?
Listen, listen. Let me, and it's tripped out because I didn't even ask it, but you pretty much my question because my question was like, how does this call come about? Did you answer immediately? You said 3 years. So and what your friend just said, because here's the thing. My former pastor, we used to say, if you're called to it, you can't run from it. But if you
Mhm.
wasn't called to it, you can't stay in it.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it is a true calling, and I just know once that happened, that has catapult you in how even you do your teaching, how you do
Mhm.
your coaching, because it it's there now. Because it's
Yeah.
still about pleasing still him. Trying to help these
Yeah.
kids, but it's still about pleasing him.
Yeah. So the job becomes more of a ministry than a
Yes.
job.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
More is at stake than just getting a paycheck and paying bills.
Hmm.
Um, I always, in terms of my profession as an educator, I always view my students as um, those that God placed me in stewardship over,
Absolutely.
and I wanted to be a good steward
Steward over
of the
those children.
children that God had put in my classroom. So
Yeah.
so it wasn't just um, me being a good teacher because I wanted them to pass. No, it was me being a good teacher because I felt that God had placed me as steward over them, and I wanted to be a good steward over them because He entrusted me not just with their learning but with their lives, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, um, and that's what teaching is to me. There's a parent of a student. This young man was one of my kindergartners, and he graduated from University of Michigan a couple years ago. And his dad and mom and dad have stayed in contact with me through the years. So when he graduated from 8th grade, it was like, Miss Reed, you got to be there. Graduated from high school, Miss Reed, you got to be there. And his dad's an educator also. And I remember when this young man was in my room, I was talking to his dad, and I said, "This you almost have to be a militant to be a good teacher." And he was like, "Yeah, you know."
Hmm.
This thing is if you do it right, it is so transformative. But you have to be driven by something much deeper than just the profession itself, because if that's
Right.
all that it is, you'll do the bare minimum.
Yep. Absolutely. and then the bare minimum will go lower than that. You'll be doing less than when, and yeah, I mean, and you can get caught up because I've seen people to get caught up in terms of what's going on. Because when I try to keep my mind in terms of education, keep my mind on those babies
Mm-hmm.
because if I don't, because I know, yeah, I have issue with kids, but adults is always my issue. And I've
Mm-hmm.
checked many adults in my last week, as a matter of fact. You know what I'm saying? Because they see me kiki kid, you know me, but you don't know me. I can be
Mm-hmm.
very ignorant when it comes to my
Mm-hmm.
kids. You ain't gonna mistreat kids. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think it's not, and like when you go back on the faith side, if you can, even when God put you in position, you got to go forward because He will take that position
Yeah.
from you. You know what I'm saying? So that's always even a fight for me. Because I tell people all the time, yeah, am I a deacon? Yeah. And do I have my man? I struggle because stuff come to me, and I'm so transparent, and that's why I know I've brought people to Christ because of my transparency. Because I don't want them to see me. Yeah, I like to dress. I like to be clean. But trust me, you don't know how dirty I am up under this suit.
Come
You feel what
on.
I'm saying? I got
Yeah.
some stuff. So and everybody God used was dirty, with the exception of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had something. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's very, very, very important, and that you're definitely. I knew you was anyway, but I want you to say it how you're infusing that your faith into
Mm-hmm.
your workspace.
Yeah. You can't separate it. Um, you are who you are wherever you go. And
Absolutely.
so it's not, that's why I said it's beyond what we do on Sunday. Someone told me once that uh, they were told that you don't have to go to church to worship. And while that is true,
It is.
I said, and it's like, we have to be careful of what we tell people, because it's true. Your life is worship. Okay.
Yeah.
Romans 12:1 and 2. I beseech
Yeah.
you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, you present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy acceptable
Sacrifice.
God, which is your reasonable act of worship.
Reasonable
Your
service.
your
Absolutely.
your life is worship, because everything that we think, everything that we say, everything that we do should ascribe worth to Him that we say we're worshiping. So if we say we worship God, then our worthship, our ascription of worth, is placed on how I say things, what I say, how I react, how I move, what decision I make. Okay, so yeah, that is worship. But we stay in fellowship with one another because that's how we learn from each other. We encourage each other. We
We
hold
build each
one
other
another
up. Yes,
accountable.
absolutely.
That's that, and so that's where we miss it, because when you're not around, even during a space where I was not in a member of a church, I would say that. Okay.
Yeah.
I went a few years, a little before the pandemic, and a little bit after, where I was out and I said I wasn't going. I said, until the Lord tell me this is where I'm not. And so I would visit here and there and things like that.
Right.
But I did not forsake the assembly, because my closest friends are believers. So I was
Mhm.
still around that
Right.
that fellowship, right? But you need to be around. That's like, okay, well, um, you don't have to go to school to learn. True. You don't have to go to conventional school, but you got to have some
Let's
type of
get.
teaching has to go on. You not because we don't do things, we don't grow in isolation.
Mhm.
And that's what a lot of people
It's not good
um
for man be alone, but God's
no.
word says it. And
Yeah,
you're absolutely
yeah.
absolutely right. And I'm gonna tell you something because I'm gonna use this opportunity. If anybody stop playing at this point, that's on you. Because one thing I do know, God, even if you was not brought up, or whatever. I do believe God put people in your path or put
Mhm.
something in your way for you to hear. And
Mhm.
that's like you said, people say, you don't have to go to church. It's like, it's not that you don't have to, it's that you want to. You want to be around
Right.
other
Exactly.
baptized believers.
Mhm.
And I just can, I just can say this here. Not that I'm this Bible told, I'm not, no. I'm telling you, and people will know me. Like we talk, yeah, I'm messing. Even though anybody looking at right now, man, yeah, you do, yeah, I did that, and I might
Mhm.
do it again. But I
Mhm.
know, but I know who's keeping me.
Yeah.
I know, Aaron. I saw something. I was going. I'm like a pitcher man. My class right now. Shout out to BB class of '89. I'm the pitcher man. I got pictures. I mean, forever. I was going. I found a picture. I shouldn't even put up, but I didn't think it was go here though. But there's a picture of my second oldest brother graduation in '85. It's a picture of my father, my mother, my little sister, and my brother graduated. I was there. I am not in that picture. And I'm like, I know my mom wouldn't have me take that picture. I probably run around. But I saw that picture. All four of them are gone.
Mhm.
And I saw that and I said, damn, God, why am I here? Because it's more that He wants me to do. So
Yeah.
that's why on my platform, I'm going to honor him. I'm gonna do so. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say because I know what God has done for me, losing all the people in my life in a 14-year span. So yeah, and I tell people this here. Say, well, I don't go to church because of people. Listen, I don't care what church you go to. It's gonna be some people that ain't right and wherever you go, and you might be the person.
Everybody in school ain't there to learn. You don't stop
Yeah,
going.
you know what I'm saying. So
They don't
you
have nothing
go,
to do with you.
yeah. If you truly
The
want to
focus
find a
on you
church
got your,
home,
you looking at
right?
people, you got your eyes on the wrong thing.
Absolutely. If you truly want a church home, if that's sincerely your prayer, He will direct you to that spot, and you're gonna know it almost instantly. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So I just shout out to you. I said, yeah, I got to get this sister off. Get this another level of it. Yo, this is my little sister. I mean, she grown. She's still my little sister. So I don't care what she's talking about. She's still my little sister. It's still little E. I don't even call her Erin. I call her E. Now let me ask you this here. Now I gotta go here. Now I know you ain't all in the accolades, but I'm gonna go ahead and pump some more because I know how you are. Let me see it. I know I got it here somewhere. I know I got it here somewhere. Okay, you inducted to the Saginaw Hall of Fame. Now you there with your dad. Now let me tell you something. Her daddy's in the Hall of Fame there too. I think you may be correct. It might be only daughter father
Right.
combo in the Hall of Fame. Yes, if it wasn't, I'm gonna say y'all was. But look at now listen. So I know how you are. It's part of my journey. It's just another stop. Even though you knew, tell me about that night. Tell me about that night.
Um, it was cool. I mean, really, um, just to come back to Saginaw, um, because that's where it started.
Right.
I'm from Sag Nasty. I don't.
Stand stand up. Yes, yes.
I've been living in Detroit longer than I've lived in Saginaw, but Saginaw is still my home.
Same thing in Chicago. Same thing. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and I'm so thankful. So like, that award to me was like a representation of where I came from.
Yeah.
Um, and just the grit. Like Saginaw is not a big town, but folks know.
Yep.
Folks
Yeah.
know about Saginaw. I
Yeah.
remember in college we were preparing for our our AKA week activities, and we went to Kansas City on a radio station to advertise. And when we got done, one of the Breakfast Brothers, he said, he was asking all of us where we were from, and one of my sources said Kansas City, Kansas, one Kansas City, Missouri. Got to me, I was the last one, and I said I'm from Saginaw, Michigan. And he said, Sag Nasty in the house. I got back to Lawrence and everybody was like, dang, they was giving
Yeah,
Saginaw a shout out, you
yeah,
know. But that's what that for me, it was like, yeah, this came out of Saginaw. Yeah.
I used to
And you
just.
know,
You're right. It's sad, like you said. You've been in Detroit for so long. It's like so to get that award. Yeah, I felt that was special. It
yeah,
had to be. It had
yeah,
to be.
yeah. And to be able to share that with my father was an added bonus. But that award was like coming home for me, you know. And just to be around other people and just see the great things that come out, great
Yeah,
people that have come out of Saginaw. And you know, it's not talked about enough, in my opinion,
absolutely.
you know,
It's
but
not.
so much greatness, you know, especially when you talk about that bridge on that east side of that bridge, though. You know, you know, um, it's just yeah.
Yeah,
And so you know,
yeah.
it's different because I was in Saginaw last weekend, and you
Okay.
know, this is the first year like there's no Saginaw High since 1865.
Right, right.
You know, and so I'm still processing that whole thing and trying to embrace um, Saginaw United. You know, and just
Yeah,
understand that
and yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's changes of life that happen. You know.
That's yeah. And you know what? And you'll be okay. I know you don't care, but that's how I felt when being a business shut down. BB. And let me tell y'all, people who don't know, it ain't like BB and Saginaw is 40 miles away.
Mm-mm,
You can get to the city limit of Saginaw in 3 minutes from my house,
mm-mm,
3 minutes. So,
mm-mm.
but I understand that. But like I said in one of my other show, I said, Saginaw, we all still win. I shout out everybody from Saginaw. And I had a young lady said, when you can put somebody on there, I know. Like I said, well, that's the point. I'm putting you on the people that you don't know. It just so happened I know some dynamic people from Sag Nasty. I absolutely do. Gonna have another on next week. I gonna do
Mhm.
everybody I can do because I got know a lot of people. I'm from North Carolina, Louisiana,
Yeah,
Cali. I know a lot of folks, but I just know what that small city has produced,
yeah,
and there's so much power there. So
yeah.
that's the thing.
That's
Now
why I
let me
put
ask
on
you
my
this
shirt
here.
today. I almost put
Yeah,
on my KU sweatshirt, but I said no. I'm gonna represent the high today. Yep, it's a
ain't
high
no wrong
kind
with
of day.
that.
So
Yeah, and like I said, yeah, I know that. And yeah, the high. You see my benefits, home of champions in my background. I got my Saginaw City Olympic sign, but yeah, benefits. I still shout out one feeder school, just one, six championship. But that's neither here nor there. But look here, thanks to you, Daddy. But
yeah.
see, listen, I'm
Some of
texting.
them came out of the city. Some of them were fed in from the city though too.
But,
So
but listen, no, though. But okay, that's more of an indictment than anything than a comment because it's really you will think about it because you're right. Some guys came to BV, but why?
hey, I don't know.
Don't
All I
say it.
know, I
My
went to
daddy. Okay, what else? Because
well,
they wasn't coming prior to your yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Some of them guys,
yeah.
but it's real. Well, I don't get in that. But what I'm saying though, the
Because
fact
at the
that
end of
they
the day, it's all Saginaw. So when you
it
look at
is,
Saginaw High,
yeah,
Arthur
yeah,
Hill, and
yeah,
Buena Vista,
yeah,
I mean, and just those three alone, and the champions and the teams that
yeah,
have come
absolutely,
out of there,
absolutely,
you know, there was a picture that Jason Richardson posted with you know, he and I standing next to each other when they were honoring us at the last game. And he
hmm
was just saying how, you know, he had heard about me, you know, coming up,
yeah,
but
Right.
for us to just, that moment. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that was pretty cool that, I guess, I don't get puffed up over those things, but I do kind of look at it like, wow, that's kind of cool
Yeah.
that people kind of looked at you like,
Yeah.
dang, I heard about this and it's coming from a guy, like, but that's
Yeah.
just a testament to how Saginaw treated girls basketball at that time.
Yeah.
So for a young man who ended up being a professional, growing up and say, hey, this, I heard about this
Yeah.
girl, and you know,
Absolutely.
kind of looked up in a sense, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's like you said, it's another thing because I'm going to talk to T. Robe, and he was even said even when they was winning the state championship BV, he got love because people was rocking with him, but it still was like it wasn't the high, and so he was like it was like I said they showed him love, but and like at the end of the day, 'cause it's not like again it's not like Buena Vista. It's like in fact there is no Buena Vista in Michigan. There's no Saginaw, Michigan 48601. And when they go downstate, they say Saginaw Buena Vista. So it's just one of the things I got love for Saginaw. Period. Shout out to J. Rich, even the high. And I told them it's a shame. There should have been a city tournament in Saginaw. Period.
Hmm.
I got the format. Listen, of course, I'm just hindsight, but man, look here. You can have the top 8 teams in Saginaw, the top four seeds. They have
Hmm.
home game. Let's just say it's the High, BV, Arthur Hill. Let's say even Newville, the top 4 seeds. The other 4 seeds, well, Carlton, Heritage, Bridgeport, whoever. And
Hmm.
then when you guys in the Final Four be at the Civic Center. Have a
Hmm.
cheerleading contest today. Have all the black businesses, had vendors come on. It could have been huge because the fact
Yeah.
that BB and the High didn't play is actually criminal. It's
Yeah.
actually criminal when you think about
Yeah.
it. The money, I mean, to be honest, the Simpson actually really wasn't even big enough for that game. You know what
No.
I'm saying?
Not
But
back, not
girl,
back then. I mean, not
yeah,
back then. Not,
yeah,
back
it would
then.
have
I
been,
mean, it
yeah,
was 8,000 at the game this year.
right, right.
So, but
It
you
would have
talking
been,
about when Saginaw
man,
was twice the size that it is
right,
now, you know.
absolutely.
Yeah, when you
But
had the
damn,
Highland
where?
Three Grades had well over 1,000 folk.
Yeah.
You had
So
13,
where? I mean, I'm
14.
thinking, where could they have had the game? I'm thinking. I mean, to really,
It would have had to been at the Civic Center. It would have just been sold out.
yeah, because
Back
it was so.
then, folks wasn't obeying fire laws. That the folks would have been jammed up in there.
Right.
It would have been
Absolutely.
jammed up in there.
Absolutely. Now,
And
now,
bring
now,
it in,
check this
bring it out
out.
home safely.
Now, we almost through here, but I'm gonna check this out here because we've been talking about this earlier. You talked about it, you are AKA,
Yes, I am.
but you're not just wearing the letters and the beautiful colors in your pearls. You're an active member.
Yes, I
You're an
am.
active member. A shout out, and I'm gonna tell you something. I said daughter only member, but I remember I told you when my daughter had crossed, and you sent me a text. Tell little sis I got her whatever she need. Appreciate that. Former students, no matter AKA, they sent us so much stuff. So my question to you, um, the work that you're doing, what is your goal going forward in terms of AKAs going forward? What is your goal? What you want the AKA to be, to become, to whatever?
Well, our motto is that we're service to all mankind, and
Okay.
um, that's what we do. Service is what we do. We just recently, I along with 57 other women, um, chartered a new chapter. And so we're Alpha, Gamma, Lambda, Omega, serving the east side of Detroit, Harper
Okay.
Woods, and the Points. And so it's an area that have been, kind of untouched. And so one of the things that Alpha Kappa Alpha has done over the years have always charted new territory in service. So when you look at historically things like the Mississippi Health Project, where members were going to the Mississippi Delta and rendering health services to people who were in dire need. The Cleveland Job Corps, our sorority sisters in Cleveland held that down for many, many years. And just being a light,
Yes.
and serving and loving the scripture as who is the greatest among you, and Jesus said that
Right.
the greatest is the one that serves,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
and so just being able to reach people and be willing to get your hands dirty, and even in things like something as simple as planting trees, because we know that our environment needs them, and not being afraid of getting our hands dirty, um, feeding people, um, uh, doing book drives because our children need books. I mean, in any way possible that we can serve our community, that is what Alpha Kappa Alpha does. Um, we served when I was in undergrad. We were we were tutoring kids. We were the work was as important as the step shows, and yes, we were stepping.
Hmm.
Yes, we were stroll. We did all of those fun things. Um, but the work was important because that is what Alpha Kappa Alpha is the work. Sisterhood and service is what we do.
Everything you said is in step with scripture.
Mhm,
Everything you just said, and it's funny too because I always think about um, one of our associate minister, Vander Green. He actually passed a couple years ago.
mm,
He was about to preach. He had a heart attack right there about to preach. And I
mm,
mean, one sermon he said, yeah, his name of sermon was just serve,
mhm.
just serve,
Yeah.
just serve. So I think that's awesome. Now you, young lady, are a legacy,
Mm,
aka
mm.
for people. What is a legacy, aka? What is a legacy, aka?
A legacy is one whose mother or grandmother um, is an AKA. Lord have
Now,
mercy.
now tell me, who is that beautiful woman you standing next to?
That's my mother. She is Mrs. Cecil Reed Golden
Yes,
Soror.
yes.
She's been in AKA 57 years. She celebrated, and our anniversary, our line's anniversaries are a day apart. So um, she celebrated her 57th the day before I celebrated my 29th. Yeah, so she's an active member herself.
And I wanna take this time to give shout out to Miss Reed. Let me tell you something. Because Miss Reed, I'm gonna tell you something how we viewed you. I'm saying this, I'm speaking for Blue Pride. The respect level for you was so much to the point. We just said, "Hey, how you doing?" Because we was scared of your husband. We didn't make him say nothing out of line. But I never had a class. But I'm gonna tell you something. And to me, coaching, as long as I'm coaching, I got a different level of respect because it's not easy being a coach's wife. People always talk about the pastor's wife, and I'm not trying to compare the two. To be, I ain't talking about somebody who just put kids together. A real coach's wife. I know what you're going through because I have one, and I know how I was when I really was into the mix. And I want to tell you this: I think you're awesome. I know, and you've raised a beautiful young lady. I
Mhm.
mean, you've been a wife, you've been a mother. I mean, and I just want to say, and I only know this now to really fully understand. We are respected, but I know I want to give you your flowers now. I ain't got them, but just do this. Just say whatever your favorite flower is, whether it's roses, whether it's whatever. I don't know. I'm not a florist, but shout out to Miss Reed because the love we had for her was was and is true. Definitely, definitely. And you start like more your mama too. You start look like more your mama too. But but shout out with that. But Erinn, listen, y'all. This is a powerful sister here. I don't say that lightly. I don't care. Again, I said what I want to say. This is my spot, and I don't give false stuff. I don't say nothing that I don't mean. Cause for what? I'm not trying to impress nobody. If anybody watching, great. If you don't, I'm good. I am listening to my father, and this young lady is for real. She has a skill set of a lot of areas, and I know she has not even scratched the surface of what she's going to do. And I am thankful that you said you was going to do it, and you did it. I am happy. You know what it is, man. I don't call her Aaron, her name E. But I'm gonna tell you this though: if I find you in the Chicagoland area, and you don't hit me. I know a lot of times you and your girls come in. Look, I ain't trying to kick it on y'all little AKA party. I don't want to be with y'all like that. I don't even like the camaraderie of being with a lot of women. I really don't. Because when you saw me with a lot of women, you can say, best believe, that ain't trying to holler at one of them. I like the camaraderie of men. So I ain't gonna mess y'all flow up, but just holler at me and go out, cocktail, whatever. Just say hi. Say dog, cat, hey, I'm here.
I I will. I will. And actually, I'm looking to come there soon, so I will let you know. I will
Definitely,
let
we
you
can
know.
chop it up a minute or whatever. Because I know you can be with your girls. Y'all do y'all little. I'll be seeing y'all be going Cancun. Y'all be going there everywhere. But do y'all do
You know
y'all?
what?
Listen, I
Hey,
gotta do your homework
I was a guest with the class of '88, so
with the class of '88.
I was with the class of '88 in Cancun.
But yeah, we gotta talk about that because somebody was trying to holler, but that's something else though. But yeah, to be
I
hot.
don't know.
Stop. We gonna
No,
get
we
on
not
that.
gonna be on here like we on the
Class,
phone
yeah,
yet.
we gonna do that. Class of 80, yeah, we gonna talk off script. 88? If you'd have said 91, 88, yeah. Somebody else. Well, okay, let me stop. But
No, it was so the invitation was open for a few of the class of '93. So a few of us from the class of '93 went. My cousin is in the class of '88 too.
okay, well, yeah, that's important. You
So
said
my
that.
cousin Erica Lockett and friends
Okay.
with Denise Cook and all of them, Tanya Holloman and
Okay.
all of that.
You okay. For you to say 88 to 93, I needed what you just said, a cousin. Because it's not like 93 and 92. Like T Smith. T Smith went out to your trip the week after we won the state championship. Shout out to T Smith. But that's the year removed. So okay, you got cousin. Okay. I'm gonna leave it alone. I still got a question though, but we
It was
talk about
some
that
BB folks there
script.
too.
Who
It was
that?
some BB folks there.
Yeah.
It
I
was some
know it.
BB folks there.
Well, yeah, I know,
It's
I know
hard to hear.
I know T. Tellis went.
Oh
I
yeah,
know,
for sure.
yeah, I know T. Tellis went, and yeah, I know, I think Dion Dilla went too, if
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah. T
Yeah,
T T Tellus was there, acting like he was my big brother.
like he's supposed to, like he's supposed to. He gonna be yeah, what? Like he's supposed to. What you thought? Yeah, of course. But yeah, hey y'all, this is Erinn Reed. You've seen everything. We've been off basketball for a minute. It's a lot more to her than hoop, but shout out to my girl. I'm looking forward. Well, I'll tell you about it. I'm gonna have a panel thing with something that's gonna be right up your alley.
Hmm.
So I'm definitely gonna have you. I ain't gonna tell you what it is yet, but I'm working on that. I want to make it have a decent panel that can contribute to what I want to discuss. But thank you, love. You know what it is, E.
I kind of got a feeling, but I'm not gonna say. I kind of got a
Well,
feeling.
actually, I got two things working. I won't say which one will go. I got two things. So if you tell me what it is, I say yeah, you're
Mm-mm.
right. But it's two ways I'm looking at it, which means I might end up doing. You might be on the
Oh,
official, yeah, because it's two things I really want to do, but I
I
got to
want
make
to
sure
tell
that
you. Speaking of panels, we were in undergrad, us along with the alphas, we used to have some nice. We used to do panel discussions. We were doing that in
Okay.
college, and we were pretty progressive too, because one of my KU brothers, he played football. Um, Robert Vaughn. So if you see this,
Okay.
Rob, next time I'm in Chicago, I'm gonna make sure I come by your restaurant again, because he
I'm not trying to be funny, but hey, shout out to Robert Vaughn.
yeah, but
Chicago, I know.
Robert Vaughn
Well,
is
you
he played
you better
football.
have called me first. Okay, shout out Robert Vaughn. But if I okay, see now me
But
and
I had
Robert Vaughn
already
be,
told
be beefing.
I had already told my KU brother that I was coming when I
Well,
was
where's
at
this
home.
restaurant?
I was at
I go check him
homecoming.
out.
He's
Shout him
downtown.
out.
It's All Star Sport, seafood and sports. I'll send you the link, but you'll see a
Oh,
big
okay,
KU flag in front of it. He's on Clark.
got you. Okay, okay,
Um, he'll show. I'll call him because he'll show you a good time. He'll
all
show you a
right,
good
bet
time.
that.
He good people, but we were pretty progressive in college, and I remember he was the president of BSU. He's an alpha, played football, and we was like, you know what, we need more representation in student senate. And so we basically rallied behind him. And that brother ended up winning student senate,
Wow.
you know. And so, yeah, that's just to kind of speak to you got my undecorated tree in the background. But it kind
I
of
don't
speaks
even
to
I don't even see no tree. You got the lights. I don't see no tree. Yeah.
it's not decorated yet. It's just sitting in
When
water.
can't nobody even see it's a tree, so you know yourself because I mean, and I know my eyes are slowly deteriorating, but I don't even see a tree because it's dark. But now I'm looking. I want to see the undecorated tree because when you put the tree, you got to put the ornaments and the stuff on. So
Yeah, I haven't
you
done
said
that yet. I'm
you
waiting on
said
some stuff. I got
you
I
wait know
solicited.
what?
Hmm.
Christmas is only a couple. Well, basically,
I
really
know it's
a
gonna be
week.
up before It's gonna be up before Saturday.
Okay, bet that. You crazy. But yeah,
Yeah,
so be send me that link. This is Ann Rio. Yeah, you definitely beat your father. Our stuff was longer. It was all good. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to get everything out. Everything that because hey, actually we could actually go another hour
we
because there's
could.
some stuff I really didn't know, but I just really wanted to bring you on because I think you're awesome. I think and people don't know outside, out there, people don't know that there are black women doing amazing things that you don't see necessarily mainstream.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And not that you're doing it for that,
Hmm.
but like we talked about it earlier, when you invested and poured into people, you
Yeah.
will never die. And your work is definitely not in vain. Definitely not in vain. So
Thank you.
continue on. You know, I got you. Whatever you need, whatever, holler at me. But I'm saying, if you come to Chicago, I'm saying we're gonna be straight on beef mode, and I'm gonna come on here and say she was in Chicago. I'm gonna play the clip, and I'll say she didn't come holler at me. She didn't say dog, cat, Negro. I'm here. Say bastard. I'm here. Something. Say something. So we gonna never have to chop it up.
And I owe your daughter a gift. You told me to hold off at the time and never got back with me.
Wait, no. See how she trying
She been
to.
at she been at AK almost 5 years now. Seem like
Hasn't been thought? Yeah, I guess it has. All right.
almost
Well,
seem
you
like.
know what? When she gonna see it, she gonna say, "Is that lady gonna give me?" Some? So since you said it, hold her down. Then go ahead and do that. Whatever it is, she would definitely be
Yeah,
appreciative
it ain't never too late. She'll be in AK for the rest of her life.
for
So
life. Absolutely.
yeah,
So again, my sister, thank you for joining me. Thank you.
thank you for having
And
me
people,
anytime.
this is Erinn Reed, y'all. She's real, my little sis. Keep doing your thing, baby. Keep doing your thing.
Will do, and I appreciate you having me.
Oh yeah, no doubt. All right, take care, sweetie.
All righty.
All right. Y'all, that was Erinn Reed. That's my girl, yo. I know it was long, but I don't put time limits on what I have to do. I want to get what I said out. But we're gonna end this. But what I want to do real quick, we lost a brother in my high school. It's my young boy. my young boy. Grew up in the hood with me. Um, Played ball, won state championship after me. Kept the tradition going. He was number 21. My number was 21 in college. This brother here, Dwight Gray, good young brother, man. This is my young boy for real. I mean, tough, and he was funeralized last week, if I'm not mistaken. And Dwight Gray, Dwight Gray, he is on a he passed on the 5th, but yeah, shout out to the Gray family. Much love. Shout out to the class of '92. Um, is that '92? Was it? Yeah, class of '92 and BV. And shout out just for BV family and Blue Pride family. So much love to him and condolences definitely. So yo, that's our show. I know it was long. Don't care. Yo, check me out, man. I'm gonna do a Friday Fable on Friday, and it is what it is. Holler at y'all next week. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And listen here, y'all. We only here for a little while. Help somebody. Let's help somebody. Help somebody. It takes nothing from you from helping somebody. Deuces.